Number 4, WrestleMania 30, another new entry into my top 10. The last time I did a top 10 video, WrestleMania 30 hadn't happened yet. And I love this pay-per-view. I felt like WWE was redoing WrestleMania 20, trying to right a terrible wrong, a great show and a great main event and a great ending to a WrestleMania in Madison Square Garden is lost forever because of Chris Benoit. And WWE tried to do something similar here at WrestleMania 30, and the whole weekend was so much fun and crazy, absolutely crazy. The main event, of course, was what this show was all about. Arguably, there's another very huge moment that took place here that this WrestleMania is remembered for, but the main event was wonderful. Daniel Bryan doing something that he was not scheduled to do. You know, Batista was brought back in to win the Royal Rumble and win the title at WrestleMania 30. The fans were pissed. The fans wanted Daniel Bryan. They've been screaming for Daniel Bryan for quite some time. He even defeated John Cena at the SummerSlam before this. All the fans wanted Daniel Bryan to be the man, and they pitched a fit. WWE recognized this, and they actually changed their direction. And they put every obstacle in front of Daniel Bryan that they could. Triple H and Stephanie had no problem being the bad guys in this. Daniel Bryan faced Triple H in the opening match, and if he beat Triple H, he would be added to the Randy Orton-Batista match, and it would become a triple threat. He did defeat Triple H completely clean, and at the end of it, Triple H beat his ass. They tried to act like they weren't sure if he was even going to make it out there for the main event, but we knew better. Daniel Bryan was going to be out there, so after defeating Triple H clean, a legend in WWE and getting his ass kicked after the match, he still goes in an essentially a handicap match. Batista and Randy Orton even team up on Daniel Bryan, putting him through a table and shit, and he still winds up defying all the odds, tapping out Batista in the main event, much like Benoit tapped out Triple H at 20. And the crowd goes nuts. Daniel Bryan celebrates, the confetti coming down. He goes out and hugs that little sweetheart of a kid, Connor, who would wind up passing away just a couple of months after this. And it was just a great moment for Daniel Bryan. The fans got what they wanted. You know, in WWE for once, listen to them. You know, the WWE that we all know usually doesn't do stuff like this. We see it now with Roman Reigns. We've seen it with John Cena in the past. Usually when the fans are screaming for somebody, WWE doesn't give a shit, and they just push who they want anyway. But they heard the fans this year, and it was just a great moment for Daniel Bryan. Unfortunately, you know, it wouldn't last. Daniel Bryan would have to forfeit the title right after this. He would be out of the ring. He would never really return to prominence. He would come back for a short stint, win the IC title, but have to forfeit that too, and then eventually wind up retiring. And he just returned recently in the past year or two in WWE, and he's gone on to win some more world titles, and he's gone on to better things. I think heel Daniel Bryan in 2019 is phenomenal. It's every bit as good as babyface Daniel Bryan was in 2014. It's great shit, just in completely different directions. So this was a great night for Daniel Bryan. I wish he would have had a little bit more of a run with the title. But if you take away all that and you just judge WrestleMania 30 for this moment and Daniel Bryan's moment, it's one of the best we've ever seen. The other thing that makes this WrestleMania so memorable, we all know what it is, the end of the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. 21-1. Still probably one of the most shocking and heart-sinking, deflating, you know, pity your stomach type of feelings. Yeah, you know what, when you go over a dip in a road and your stomach kind of drops and you have that just strange feeling in the pit of your stomach? That's exactly how I felt when that referee's hand came down for 3 and Brock Lesnar pinned The Undertaker. I was so naive and I was so ingrained in this Undertaker undefeated streak that I didn't see the writing on the wall. You know, I just thought that Brock Lesnar was an opponent for The Undertaker this year. Big match on the marquee, but in the end, The Undertaker is never going to lose a streak. At the time, I was of the opinion that the streak should never end, that The Undertaker should retire undefeated at WrestleMania. I just thought that that would cement his legacy as the godfather of the WWE. He's the new Andre the Giant. He's that new mythic figure that generations of wrestlers for years to come are always going to hear stories about and respect. And I couldn't believe that they ended it. I still to this day have mixed feelings about it. I liked the fact that the streak ended for the sole purpose of how shocking it was. I love to be shocked. I want my jaw to hit the floor. I want to piss my pants. And I did. Because when that referee's hand came down You could hear the air. You could feel the air just leave their lungs. And the iconic shot of the young man in the front row with that big look on his face. We all know who he is. And Paul Heyman jumping in the ring, freaking out. Oh my God. Oh my God. He couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it. We were so shocked that we were speculating that an audible was called. We thought something happened. We thought the referee botched the 3 count. These are the type of things that were running through our heads because we couldn't believe that the streak ended. And I still can't believe it. But I love the moment. I love the 3 count. Sometimes I go back and I just watch that 3 count just to watch the reaction of the crowd. A lot of people in the front row standing up, hands on their head, just insanity, just pure shock. 80,000 people, whatever was there, 70,000, just stone silence. And that's pretty crazy. I wish I would have been in the building that night. Were any of you at WrestleMania 30? Let me know how that was in the comments below. And it's something that 5 years later is still extremely fresh in my memory, and I can hear it. I can feel it. I was doing commentaries. I remember sitting at home that night, tweeting during this, losing my mind. None of us could believe it. I think I tweeted that night back in 2014 that I felt like my dog died, because I did. That was the type of feeling it gave you, and it made it memorable. And even though I've got mixed feelings about it, part of me, hated that the streak ended, and part of me loved it. I still got to put this WrestleMania up there with one of my favorites, because those 2 moments alone were worth the price of admission. And those 2 moments alone should put this WrestleMania on the countdown, because it was loaded with so much emotion. Don't forget about the Ultimate Warrior going into the Hall of Fame the night before, cutting his promo the night after on Monday Night Raw, and then dying on Tuesday, right after he cuts a promo talking about breathing his last breath. I needed to be hospitalized. I was so shocked and spooked out. I remember I did a video on the Ultimate Warrior's passing, and I was legitimately spooked. I'm like, this is weird, man. What an emotional roller coaster this weekend was. With the Hall of Fame, and then WrestleMania, the highs of Daniel Bryan winning the title, the lows of The Undertaker losing the streak, the death of the Ultimate Warrior. It was nuts, man. And we had a lot of promising things happen on this pay-per-view as well. Remember Cesaro winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal? I believe this was the first year they were doing it, when we thought it was going to be a big deal, when it wasn't on the kickoff show. And Cesaro, another guy, much like Daniel Bryan, who the fans were screaming for, last eliminates the Big Show by body slamming him over the top rope. He would later go on to become a Paul Heyman guy. We thought this was going to be it for Cesaro, but it never was. And as great as this moment was, his victory, in the end turned out to mean nothing. And the Andre the Giant Battle Royal doesn't mean a whole lot either these days, because we've had some pretty shitty victories in this thing. And I remember being really optimistic and really happy that they were adding this match to WrestleMania, and it was going to be an annual thing, because Battle Royals used to be the shit at WrestleMania. They've always kind of been a theme. They've turned up a number of times. We had a Battle Royal at WrestleMania 2. We had a Battle Royal at WrestleMania 4. We had a Battle Royal at 14, I think, at 17 with the Gimmick Battle Royal. At WrestleMania 21, I think there was a Battle Royal dark match or on the pre-show that Booker T won. So they're kind of a theme. They've happened from time to time, and I really hope and wish WWE can again capture the magic of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that they had back then with that Cesaro victory. And this is another WrestleMania that I would be very curious where all of you stand with this, because, is it as high on your list as it is on mine? Don't forget, John Cena did defeat Bray Wyatt on the show. A lot of fans hated that. So maybe WrestleMania 30 is not a favorite amongst a lot of wrestling fans, maybe only a few, but I've got this one pretty high on my list.